What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Brinson. I'm your host. This is the Thanksgiving Pick Show. Joining me I was going to say Happy Thanksgiving, but I guess that qualifies whether it's the day before or the day of, whatever. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Tyler Sullivan, aka Sully. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
What's going on? Well, happy Thanksgiving. We're in the week. It's fine. It's like you round up or round down. It's like, yeah, you're there.
I mean, we recorded the Best Bet show on Tuesday, like an hour before we recorded this show. And it's like those lines are going to move a lot. And we were all very confused. It's like also
I'm totally out of whack. I'm right there with you. I wrote a story today, and this is Tuesday, about the injury reports for Wednesday, thinking it was Wednesday. I'm like setting it all up, like ready to go.
Oh, no. At least you got ahead of the curve.
Yeah, me and Kerr are writing it. So I'm like, all right, hey,
well, it's weird. Like, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a creature of habit when it comes to scheduling or like a, disciplined, like scheduling person. But when you spend 11 weeks going through the routine of the NFL schedule, the week of Thanksgiving comes as a major shock to the system because you're like Monday recap. It's like Tuesday, Wednesday, plotting out this. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, no, I have to drive all day Wednesday. And like Thursday, 3-4. Look, I love Thanksgiving football. I've loved it my entire life. One of my favorite things in the entire world used to be sitting with my grandfather. We'd come back from the big family thing down in Jacksonville, Florida, and people were like, "We're going to the movies," and we're like, "Nah, we're sitting here watching football." He'd fall asleep in his chair. I'd fall asleep on the couch. That's where I watched. I think I wrote the story. I remember him sleeping while I'm like banging out a story on my hotspot when Ndamukong stomped on was it Josh Sitton? Remember when Ndamukong on Thanksgiving Day like stomped, had the famous stomp. So I mean, it was like this is back when it was like hard to get Wi-Fi. Like my grandparents didn't even have Wi-Fi at their house, and I don't think they ever got it, frankly. Anyway, Thanksgiving football the best, but when you have to work, it does make it a little less. You're at Thanksgiving, everybody's pounding cocktails, enjoying like, hey, your dad busts out the nice red wine. You're like, just take it easy on that because
not complaining whatsoever. But when you have a couple of HQ hits and covering games, it's probably not the best to have about 10 Bud Lights beforehand. It's probably
as our Patriots insider, you can't really get that slammed before the Patriots game
that would be poor choice.
That slammed being the key phrase here. Just a little slammed. Anyway, Sully and I are going to make picks. So the Best Bet show will be in the feed, of course. It will not feature the 3 Thanksgiving games. It will feature all the other games. This will be the picks for the Thanksgiving week. And if you have any thoughts, Sully, like, I mean, I know I'll play, we're not going to do DFS previews, but if you've got any thoughts on like sleepers or like props or anything like that, feel free to throw them out. I don't think there's a ton out there yet. Like I couldn't even find, I saw that, Josh Allen, if you can find over passing yards, go ahead and take. Never mind. It's up to 279. Okay.
Yeah.
It's 264. Still think you probably wouldn't be shocked if that got taken over. But anyway, point being, if you want to keep props, feel free to toss those out. But we will make picks for these games. So we start in Detroit, where the Buffalo Bills are playing their second consecutive game. This time is the away team after being the home team in Detroit last week with that game, the game between the Browns and the Bills moved because of snow. Buffalo obviously handled the Browns pretty easily in Buffalo. I believe in Detroit. They went back to Buffalo,
which doesn't make sense. But just stay in Detroit.
Yeah, they're pretty close to each other, so I guess I kind of get that. But I'm with you. I would just stay in Detroit because you play on Sunday. I guess it was Sunday at 1, so you're back by Sunday night. But then you're still traveling on Wednesday, I would assume, for a new 12:30 game.
Yeah, and I mean, again, to each their own. It's I don't know if it's going to make a whole world of difference, but at the same time, if you're going to be there in a few days, might as well just make life a little bit easier in terms of traveling. Who knows? Maybe they get another 75 feet of snow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if I had trouble getting out of town because of snow, I'm staying in Detroit. Detroit actually down to 9.5. I believe this is 10.5 on Monday afternoon. So Detroit's catching a little steam here. The Lions plus 9.5 at home on Thanksgiving. They won 3 straight games for the first time since 2017. A total here of 54. Sully, any thoughts on this game.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just kind of referenced it a little bit there. It does feel like the Lions are catching a lot of steam. And you look, obviously, in the totality of the season, and you say, okay, well, this team defensively isn't that great. They're last in points per game, yards per game, EPA per game. But over the last few weeks, they've been pretty frisky. Over the last 3 games, 19 points per game allowed, 7 takeaways, which is more than their previous games throughout the early portions of the season. The opponent passer rating is 70.6, and the pressure rate is at 39% as opposed to 30% in the 7 games prior. So they're playing much better defensively over the last few weeks here. And they're not going up against slouches either. You're talking about Aaron Rodgers, getting 3 picks off of him. And so you do wonder, all right, if you're catching at the time 10 points against a team that's trending in the right direction at home, yeah, that feels a little good. I don't know. I feel like Buffalo still inside. They were in a neutral site technically last week. I think they were like an 8-point favorite there. They were still able to cover, but did start out a little bit slow. With this being 9.5, 9, wherever you can find it, I still think I might go with Buffalo here, but I don't love it. It's just a lean here for me because I think Detroit's a little frisky.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of points.
Inside with Josh Allen, it just feels a little dangerous.
Yeah, there's a lot of places I would feel more comfortable catching 9.5 with the Lions than Josh Allen inside. Just looking at the Lions have moved up to like 25th, I think, in DVOA in terms of defense. They're still 32nd in the NFL in terms of points allowed. But you go back and you look at their last few weeks, and like you say, 18 points allowed to the Giants, 30 points allowed to the Bears, 9 points allowed to the Packers. I mean, they've been better since the bye, and they've definitely been better the last 3 weeks. But I'm not. I don't know, man. It's just a tough one. Like 10. I feel like 10.5. I would have liked the Lions.
Yeah,
9.5. I start to lean towards Buffalo a little bit. I'm sort of a sucker though for Detroit's for the Lions and I'm gonna take the Lions. I'm gonna end up betting the Lions because I'm a sucker for the Lions. I don't think you want to mess around with them in a teaser. Like even then, like Buffalo could win this game by 21 points easily. It wouldn't shock me. I think I would probably lean towards the over in this spot in terms of the total. I know that's probably the donkey thing to do at 54. It's a lot of points, but man, like I just think that you could see Buffalo light it up in terms of just coming out there and feeling comfortable, having played well in that stadium, going up against the defense is playing well, but might not still be elite, and just popping off again. Like Josh Allen in these, I want to say, I mean, Josh Allen in primetime usually really, really good. I feel like actually, you know what? I'm not going to take the Lions. I take that back. Because I remember when he slaughtered the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah,
I think this is a Josh Allen nuclear eruption spot.
Well, that's what I was going to counter with it just a little bit, but quickly too. Just if people want to take the Lions and need something to feel good about, they are 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 home games, so they do play well or keep these games close at home. But from a narrative standpoint with Josh Allen, I do think it's worth pointing out when you say national stage, Thanksgiving, we are completely off of him in terms of the MVP conversation right now. It is firmly Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes is minus 140 as of Monday night.
And not that that's, a huge deal, but if you're Josh Allen, you're looking at it at some degree and saying, hey, listen, I'm going to show out here. I'm going to go all out and reinsert myself back into that conversation. I don't think he can do anything that puts him as the betting favorite after this game, but he could still put himself back in that conversation with a baller outing.
Yeah, and let's not forget, I mean, like we said at the beginning of the year, the media members want Josh Allen to win the MVP. Like they would prefer that over. I mean, like they'd be fine with Mahomes. I think everybody loves Mahomes, but I think you have a situation where media members would like that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just think they the idea of Josh Allen as the MVP strikes people as I'm gonna try to find what that Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys was. That 20? Was it 20? Was it 2020? Did he play on Thanksgiving in 2020? I don't remember. 2020 is such a blur. I think it was 2019.
The past
Yeah, that's it.
few years in the NFL is such a blur. I was talking about it today too. It's crazy that we're already at Thanksgiving. I feel like I was at Pat's camp like
I
a
know,
month
it's
ago.
nuts. This season is
It's
flying.
insane.
So Allen, yeah, all right. So I mean, they beat the Cowboys 26-15, and the Cowboys scored a garbage time touchdown with 4 minutes to go. So it really wasn't even that close. It was an absolutely dominant effort. By here's Jason Witten caught the first touchdown of that game, by the way, which is something else. That's how long it was. Allen, 19 of 24 for 231 yards and a touchdown, 10 carries for 43 yards and a touchdown. You would think that they'll be a little bit more careful with him in this spot, given his, just given his elbow injury. I don't know why I touched my shoulder. Given his, his elbow injury and where they're at. But I wouldn't be surprised if they use some runs in here. I kind of like, there's an alternate team total over for the Bills that you can mess around with the slider. Their team total is 32.5. You slide it down to 31 and minus 137. I think Detroit will be able to score enough to keep up with, to force Buffalo to keep scoring.
Yeah, 31 points in the last 2 weeks. This team, scoring the football hasn't been their problem. I mean, there were portions of the year where they were the highest scoring offense in the NFL. They have the ability to do that and to put up points and to keep teams honest. It's been the issue for them in terms of their win-loss record has been their defense. And now that it's playing well, there's a reason why the people are looking at them as a live dog at home.
By the way, the Bills started the year with 2 primetime games, 31-10 win against the Rams and a 41-7 win against the Titans. I feel like I am not fading Josh Allen in a primetime spot.
So that's the question, though. Those scores that you referenced, though, blowouts by Buffalo, while the defense is also suffocating the offense. That's a concern here. If you're expecting a Josh Allen blowout, those games typically go under.
You need to have something from the other side. You got to get something from Detroit as well.
Right.
Yeah. So just looking at player props real quickly. Let's try to see what the first touchdown score was. We still don't have any good odds on that. Gross. Yeah, there's nothing good on here. Moving along. I mean, there's just nothing good on here. You take Khalif Raymond at 12-1. Get a grip, guys. What are we doing? Stephon Diggs minus 127 or Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary minus 111 to score a touchdown. I like that a lot. Jamal Williams also plus 106 to score a touchdown. Of course, Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo's defense is stout, but Jamal Williams has become basically the lead back there. And Devin Singletary, looking at his last few games, 18 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown, and 13 carries for 47 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground in the last 2 weeks. They've really cranked up his carries since the start of the season. Over his last 5 games, he is averaging 14 carries and 62 yards per game, and averaging 0.6 touchdowns in those games too. I like Singletary touchdown, anytime touchdown.
Do you have James Cook there by chance too? Do you have him?
Yeah, of course. I'll look it up. James Cook plus 225 to score a touchdown.
Interesting, because I felt like they were using him a little bit more too in that game last week. So
well, and if it's a blowout, they're going to rotate in Cook a lot because they don't want to look. You can see it. It's the analytics. You see it with a lot of teams. They don't want Singletary to be above 20 carries. I think they feel like he's most effective in that mid-teens range. So that's a pretty good look there. I wouldn't touch Gabe Davis touchdown. That's not very good. But I mean, I think Diggs and Singletary and Jamal Williams are pretty good looks at anytime touchdowns. Player props really quickly. I mean, I don't mind the over Josh Allen, 279 passing yards. It's just shot up by 15 yards in the last 24 hours. I think the established run guys gave it out as as one of their prop bets, which usually causes a lot of steam in that arena. All right, let's move on to the next game. I would take, anyway, on this game, let's make sure we have just a list of bets each so we can come back and be accountable for ourselves. So,
sure.
I'm going to take Buffalo minus 9.5.
Yeah,
that's I'm going to take. So we're both on Buffalo minus 9.5. I'm on Singletary and Jamal Williams and Stephon Diggs touchdowns.
I'll do James Cook anytime touchdown.
I like it. I dig it. All right, moving along to the next game. The Giants at the Cowboys. Cowboys all the way up to minus 9 in this spot. A total of 45. Sully, your thoughts?
I mean, I just did a deep dive on the New York Giants on the site today and wondering if their season's over. And you really just highlight the They're injuries that
That's
this
a great
team
idea. Who's a good thing. I like that idea.
Our boss Kevin's a huge Giants fan, so I basically just wrote a love letter to him, but that was
Or a hate letter,
or a
like,
hate letter.
yeah.
But I think he loved to hate it, so I don't know. Whatever, it works. I made my boss happy, I think, so that's good.
There you go.
And so you look at what the Giants have been dealing with over this game against Detroit last week. A number of injuries, handful of starters are going to be missing in this game. Wan'Dale Robinson's out for the year with a torn ACL. Adoree Jackson's going to be missing for this game. You might even be missing multiple players in that secondary as well. And you look at the way this offense worked last week when Saquon Barkley is unable to run the football effectively. It just turns everything on its head. And when you are forcing Daniel Jones to throw the football 44 times like they did last week, which was a season high for him, you're bound to get turnovers. He's been really good at protecting the football up until last week when he had his first multi-interception game. I think that you're dealing with something similar here against Dallas. You look at what this offensive line for the Giants is right now. They're giving up the second most pressure rate in the NFL this season. I believe that's right. Let me just see this really quick. I believe it's the second most. I can find it more specifically later. But they're allowing a ton of pressure on the quarterback. There's no receivers to speak from. And if they sell out to stop Saquon Barkley, like I think that they will, I have a hard time imagining how this offense is going to score points. And when you look at the offensive side of the ball for the Cowboys, they seem to be rolling with Tony Pollard. And you see what that Giants secondary is not going to have. It feels like a route's about to happen in Dallas.
All right, so I got a spicy little parlay for anyone who's watching this live or listening to this podcast. If we finish it and it gets posted before 2:00, which seems unlikely. France in the World Cup. It starts at 2 p.m. They're -2 against Australia, -500 on the money line. France, the Bills, and the Cowboys money line parlay. It's -120.
Like it, sure.
Excuse me, on Caesars, it's
football.
Football. So you get France at 2:00. Obviously, if you lose France, it's over. But you get France. And then you're thinking, and then you got a little action on the first two games, and you don't have to worry about that spread. I'm putting that in right now. If you're watching live, hope you can jump on it too. Really chalk. A lot of road, a lot of bizarre chalk there, but that's okay. I think that's a pretty good look in terms of that parlay. Sorry, go ahead as you were saying about the Cowboys. Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think the Cowboys are going to destroy them.
Yeah, this feels like the route game that we're going to see. Maybe this might be the boring game where it could be a little plucky with the Bills in the Lions for a little bit, but this one does not feel like it's going to be particularly close.
Did this line open at 9? How much has this moved? A total of 45. Like, contrast the Lions and the Bills versus the Cowboys and the Giants. You have a 9.5 point road favorite with a total of 54.
It opened at 7.
Already moved all the way up to 9. I mean, that's people are betting the Cowboys. And it's only Tuesday when we're recording this, Tuesday afternoon. Like, the Cowboys are going to keep getting like this. There is no more square time to hammer a heavy favorite like Dallas than the afternoon game on Thanksgiving. Like, you think anybody's betting the freaking Giants? They are decimated by injuries. Daniel Jones starting to turn into a pumpkin. Cowboys defense is playing with their hair on fire, especially that pass rush. And the Cowboys offense looks explosive. Plus, if you're Mike McCarthy, you really had a chance to make a statement in that game against Green Bay, and you pooped your pants. But you came back and you obliterated the Vikings. And now you have a chance to really put a dent in the playoff hopes of a division rival that, as you point out, has been plucky all season long, at home with the entire world, like literally the entire world watching. Well, okay, just the entire United States of America watching. Maybe some of Mexico. Apparently, they're big Cowboys fans, according to the sideline reporter from Stadium Azteca on ESPN last night. Point being is, like, you will make Jerry Jones very, very happy if you obliterate the Giants at home on Thanksgiving. And there's a pretty good chance to do it if you can bottle up Saquon Barkley, make them one-dimensional, pin your ears back, score some points with Dak. And I just think the Giants are, as you point out, like you did the deep dive on it. They look like, the Giants and the Jets look like great season. No matter what happens the rest of the way, it's a great season. I think you win 7 games like this. You got a good coaching staff in place. You got a bright future. but it wouldn't be shocking if they, the train limped into the station.
Yeah, I said at the end they seem to be destined to be a sacrificial lamb for somebody in wild card weekend just because of that hot start. Even if they go under 500 down the stretch, there's a couple of games there where they could win. You split with Washington, you beat Indianapolis, and who knows what happens in Week 18 with Philadelphia if they're resting their starters. You're looking at a 10-win season, and what does that mean? It means you're going to get blown out in the opening round of the playoffs, but still good season by all accounts for them. But for this game in particular, it does feel like they're going to get blown out. And who knows, maybe there's some added motivation here because this is somewhat turning into the Odell Beckham Bowl. And is there a way here where all of a sudden Dallas beats them so bad that Odell Beckham's like, why would I ever consider going back to New York Giants? And let me sign on with the Dallas Cowboys.
That's a good point. You basically force Odell Beckham's hand.
I mean,
hey, look, buddy, you want to. I mean, you flip Odell from the Giants. This is like a recruiting. It's like a recruiting official visit. Like if Odell, I don't doubt he'll be there, but like you're basically saying, hey, buddy, you want to come play for this or you want to go play for that? And Odell, I don't know if Odell loves New York that much to where he'd be willing to do it. Okay, the props for this one. Anything? I haven't really dove into him. TD score. I see anytime. Again, like I don't want to disparage Caesars, but these first touchdown score odds are just terrible. Like Kenny Galladay's 23-1. I mean, like he should be like 23-1 to catch a pass.
I mean, I like Daniel Jones minus 111 to throw an interception.
Oh yeah,
like that's fun.
Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas, Sully.
Like
minus 111 for a Daniel Jones pick on Thanksgiving.
I mean, I'll take that with some stuffing, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's interesting. Tony Pollard minus 122 to score a touchdown. Zeke Elliott's plus 130. I mean, they'd love to give it to Zeke at the red zone. Like you get down to the goal line, they'd love to give it to Zeke.
You're just banking on like what we saw last week, just a
pass interference, tackle in the 5, tackle the 1, something like that. Right. Zeke, right, exactly. Let's look at these player props real quick. Interceptions, yeah. I mean, how is he minus 123 under a half interception? It should be. I feel like it should be the other way around.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Longest pass completion for Dak Prescott, 36.5. My goodness gracious. That's a bit much. And then
I feel like that's the standard. It sits around 34 to 36. That's kind of where that is.
Total rushing yards. I don't hate Daniel Jones 40.5 total rushing yards. Like I feel like this is a game where he might be running for his life and forced to pick up yards with his legs. Tony Pollard 66.5 versus Zeke 45.5. It's crazy how these are just completely flipped. I don't really love any of those either, honestly. I just want to see what CeeDee Lamb's receiving yards is. Over 70.5 receiving yards for CeeDee Lamb. I'll take that. It's minus 139, but I think this is a possible explosion spot for him too.
Down multiple corners could be an easy day for him.
Yeah, and I mean, like they will feature CeeDee Lamb. We've never seen CeeDee Lamb on a thanks. Okay, actually, did he play? I'm trying to think. What did he do? CeeDee Lamb do on Thanksgiving last year?
That I don't remember, but
I'll look it up real quick right here. Just happen to have CeeDee Lamb stuff in my phone. Oh, I guess CeeDee Lamb's in his third year too, so maybe he's got.
Plus 195 for Daniel Jones anytime touchdown isn't terrible either.
He was inactive last year for Thanksgiving.
Really?
Only game he missed. Isn't that weird? How about that? What's for anytime touchdown?
Plus 195.
Don't hate it. Yeah, 2-1. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Let's just take Sully's Danny Dimes primes. We'll take the over.
I think that's the move for me.
Yeah. All right. So I went on the Dallas parlay. I think Dallas minus 9 is probably a pretty decent look. Giants team total under might be a pretty good look too. Which is, of course, over 6 total points, 17.5. I will take the under. I'll make that as one of my best bets. Giants under total points, 17.5.
Yeah,
I don't think they're getting there. Yeah,
I don't see them get. They're not sniffing 20. They're not. They don't
really score 20 points in the first place, and Dallas's defense is nasty. All right, moving along to the next game. It's so hard to navigate the site. Patriots at the Vikings. The Vikings minus 2.5. The juice it was 3, I believe. Was it
Hang on one second.
It's the Patriots are plus 2.5, minus 115, which means it
was Vikings minus 3.5 opening.
Woo, yeah, that's right. Breech and I both like the Patriots in that spot. It means this could go to. This is going to go to 2, isn't it? Oh my. Yeah, I mean, I'd get your Patriots bets in now. Maybe buy it. Maybe buy it to 3. I mean, the Vikings. It's Kirk Cousins in prime time. No, that's right, because Breech and I talked about this. Really, Kirk Cousins. It's Kirk Cousins in prime time against Bill Belichick. You see that total 42.5. Not expecting a lot of points. You know, I think this is a one-score game no matter how it plays out. Maybe the Patriots are able to win it. I think they can definitely go into Minnesota and pull off the upset. It's a tough place to play. The Vikings are due for a bounce back, and are certainly the market adjusted to them after they got blown out by the Cowboys last week. But I like the Pats a lot here.
Really? Maybe I'm more pessimistic just because I have no faith in this offense right now, particularly along the offensive line.
Sure.
You see David Andrews go down. I believe he was at practice today. We'll see what the practice report is and what his status is going to be. There was a report that he was dealing with a season-ending thigh injury, but now he's at practice. So it's very much up in the air what the center position is going to be for New England, but also issues along the tackle spots, whether it's Trent Brown being benched, Isaiah Wynn getting hurt. I just feel like the protection in front of Mac Jones is so poor right now that even a Vikings team that doesn't necessarily go after and tee off on the quarterback, but are still able to apply pressure. They rank, I believe, 6th in the NFL in hurries. So, I mean, they do apply pressure on the quarterback. And I just don't have much faith in terms of what we've seen from Mac Jones so far that they'll put up many points. That's why I think I like the under in this the most. That's probably my favorite bet in this game. I don't know if I want to touch any of the sides here just because you could see this game being a grinded out field goal, bad Kirk Cousins game where, like we saw last week, the Patriots offense doesn't even need to be that good and they just grind out a win defensively and on special teams. For me, I go under. This is where I look at an underplay here. The Patriots defense is playing out of their minds and the Patriots offense has a lot of questions. And that to me just feels like a recipe for this going around a 21-17 kind of game or something like that.
Yeah, I like that look a lot too, especially when you think about and you could go first half under too. I don't think they'll come out guns blazing. And like Kevin O'Connell's got to be careful here because after the way Kirk Cousins played, and it wasn't entirely his fault at all. Christian Darrisaw likely out for this game.
Yep. I think he's already ruled out.
Yeah, I mean he's out for this game, right? So that offensive line is not great right now. Belichick will dial up some pressures. He'll bring some stuff that will certainly make Kirk Cousins work for his. But like 2 really bad games from Kirk Cousins in a row. And I think you start to sort of have, some chatter.
For sure. Especially prime time.
Like, I don't know what you're going to do, but just like, oh, wait, I thought this team was, really good.
But I'll say this, and this will be the defense of Kirk Cousins a little bit. And it goes into saying Christian Darrisaw is not playing. And over the last 2 weeks, you're playing the team that is number 1 and number 2 in pressures. The Cowboys and the Patriots get after the quarterback. They can wreak havoc along the offensive lines. And really, Matt Judon, I think, is a sleeper defensive player of the year candidate. 13 sacks so far this season. He is spearheading what this team is doing defensively. And you even look beyond that too. Their secondary's playing well. Lowest completion percentage in the NFL going into this game, 56%. Their defense, top to bottom, is playing great. This is why it's so frustrating for me to watch as a Patriots follower, because the offense is so putrid that if it was even a C grade overall, you'd say this team could be a legitimate playoff kind of threat here. And again, they're in the playoffs technically, but right now they're squandering, in my opinion, one of the better defenses they've had over the last few years because of what's going on offense. And to hammer that point a little bit home and why I'm hammering the under on this one too, on a Patriots standpoint, this team has struggled to score touchdowns when they get into the red zone. They have the 31st ranked red zone touchdown percentage in the NFL this season. The only team they're better than when they get into the red zone scoring touchdowns are the Denver Broncos, who we have looked at all year, saying that they are the massive disappointment and utter calamity on offense. So for me, that's what gets me concerned. 42.6% in the red zone touchdown percentage. That's just not good enough when you get that close, especially when you're a run first team like New England is right now.
How the hell do the Pats lose to the Bears?
And that's another big issue. Mobile quarterbacks have been so brutal to the Patriots, whether it's Lamar Jackson earlier this year,
Does
Josh
Tua
Allen
count? Does Tua count?
historically. Say it again.
Tua count a little bit?
A little bit, but
Yeah.
Justin Fields that to me, I saw that up close and personal. That was when they really started to use those designed runs for him, and it just felt like they unlocked something. But that's been a weakness for the Patriots so much. And I guess
Years.
Kirk Cousins isn't that kind of guy, so they don't really have to worry about it in this setting. But if you're going to attack this defense, and listen, they're still good against the run, but Dalvin Cook's going to have to be a big player this week. That's what's going to have to set them over the edge.
Right. So you don't like the Patriots. I like the Pats in this spot. By the way, the Pats are kicking off a stretch of 4 straight primetime games. This Thursday, next Thursday against the Bills at home, Monday Night Football at the Cardinals, bleh, and then Sunday Night Football at the Raiders. That is at least the Pats are playing good defense.
Well, if they get gassed, it's after this primetime gauntlet. That's not great.
They could easily go 3-1 in that stretch.
Sure. I think they're making the playoffs. It's just a matter of, all right, what does that actually mean?
I said that I think they are viable. I said that I was asking radio, like, how many teams do you think can make the Super Bowl or win the Super Bowl? Maybe it was win or
they're not making the Super Bowl. That
dude, I mean, you could easily get a situation where the Bills and the Chiefs play each other in the first round of the playoffs. One of those teams is knocked out, and then I mean, I don't think they're making the playoffs either, but I don't think they're making the Super Bowl. Like, I don't think the Bucks are winning the Super Bowl either. But if Tom Brady needs 3 games to win, he needs to win 3 games in the playoffs to get, I'm not ruling him out.
Right. I would say just in that example, I can envision a higher ceiling for a team like Tampa, even though the record in the play so far hasn't been great because of the quarterback and because of the things around them. Yeah. I just don't see that same ceiling with Mac Jones right now.
I don't either. I mean, I don't think it's likely. I'm just saying it's like,
or I should say more specifically, I don't see that ceiling with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge.
Yeah, correct. Well, maybe Josh McDaniels get fired in time for the playoffs.
That would be exciting. Just take them back on the plane ride home after you play them in Vegas.
That's right. Yeah. Beat the Raiders, beat the pants off the Raiders, and be like, "Wait, listen, we'll take Josh from you." Here to keep here. Let's say like you give the Raiders like I don't know, what did you leave them? But you're like, here's Joe Judge. We'll take Josh McDaniels. Here's 10 or like here's $1.5 million and Joe Judge. We'll take Josh McDaniels in his contract. Any props stand out for you?
Well, I'll go under. Well, that kind of just goes into my
under. Yeah.
My sentiment here. Under team total Patriots 20.5. I have a hard time envisioning them going to 20. I have a hard time of that happening. And so that for me is where I'm looking.
Mac Jones over under is 223 passing yards.
That's tasty.
That'd be the under, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here's his.
Unless they change their entire approach, I just don't think they're doing that on a short week. I think they should run more play action for him because he's actually been very efficient in play action. I think he's got like an 8.8 yards per completion or yards per attempt.
I can't believe he went 23 of 27 for 246 yards and they scored 3 points on offense.
Fool's gold stats, though. That was a little.
It was misleading.
Yeah, very misleading.
Okay, so I mean, obviously he got hurt when he threw for 13 yards against or he was coming back from injury when he threw for 13 yards against the Bears, but 194, 147, 246 last week. So if you think that was fool's gold, then I mean, like he's probably not going to clear 200 yards.
Yeah, I think he'd have a tough time with that. And so the one that I like, if we're looking quarterbacks too, I mean, I'm just looking at interceptions here. Kirk Cousins, prime time. He's just got to throw one and it's minus 101. That's a fun time for me.
Max interception total is over half is minus 166.
Yeah.
That is really high.
I mean, he's been a little.
He only has 2 games. In the last 2 weeks, he hadn't thrown a pick, but I mean, that's the only 2 weeks he doesn't have picks. So
right.
Yeah. That's a lot, man. I was trying to see if you could parlay that, but I don't wait, hold on. No, I gotta clear out France and the Bills. I doubt you can parlay those two. No, you cannot parlay the 2 interceptions. But I agree with you. I think Cousins over interception total is a pretty good look. Would not be they don't have any Dalvin Cook props up. Weird. Oh, they don't have rushing attempts up. That's weird for Dalvin Cook. Ramondre Stevenson over 13.5 rushing attempts.
Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. Did he go substantially down last week with Damian Harris back?
Well, I think Harris did have a decent amount of volume, but he still had 15 carries last week.
He's only been under that total once since week 4. and it was against Chicago when they were down by a ton of points early, and he had 11 carries. I'll take that over for Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
And I like your under on the full game total. I like the Pats too, but Sully maybe a better lock on the Pats than me.
Or just pessimist. It's either one.
That's true. All right. Anything else for you on Thanksgiving? What's your favorite? What's your favorite side?
It's got to be stuffing. It's such chalk. That is chalk, but
that is chalk. Yeah, stuffing. So it's like, what's your favorite side? Stuffing's like minus 225.
Right.
You know what? Just parlay it with Mac Jones interception. And then
or do you say gravy as a side, or is that a compliment? Because you could say that that's the most versatile side.
Yeah, so it's weird. We don't do like a traditional Thanksgiving meal at my parents' house. We like cook oysters, so, but like which I
nice.
love.
Love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then my mom does like Brunswick stew, and people will bring like some stuff over. But yeah, I mean, like back in the day when we used to go down to Jacksonville for my with my grandparents, we'd go to this like 150 like the Williams family. They got this like little farm thing. It's like, but it was a what is it, covered dish, or it was like everybody brings a dish.
Right.
It's like 120 people bringing like random dishes, but you would
call potluck. Is that right?
Potluck, I guess that's potluck. Yeah, but it was like and you would go in this like line. It was like, I mean, like an insane line around this, like in all kinds of different stuffings, everything. But you would almost get to the point where you would know like which dishes were going to be there each year.
Right.
Everybody would roll back the exact same dish, which is wild that like 120 and they weren't really coordinating it at all either. It was just like everybody knew that, you know,
some sort of like hive mind is like just like, all right.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. So, and then we had like Florida barbecue, which is not, it's like the yellow mustard with the.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's don't eat Florida barbecue. But anyway, yeah, I think stuffing is probably my favorite.
For sure.
Green bean casserole, pretty good too.
Yeah. All right. I like that too.
All right. That'll do it for us. Happy Thanksgiving. Good luck with the bets. Sully, as always, thanks for doing these shows. Should really pay Sully more money, CBS or something. For Sully,
sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's in the door.
All right.
Yeah, whatever. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you guys later.